professional, also a perfect record. 35 fights, 35 victories, including 32 by knockout, including 22 consecutive KOs, and he has KO'd every opponent he's faced over the last 8 years. This Olympic medalist from Karaganda, Kazakhstan, is the reigning, defending, undefeated, universally recognized true middleweight champion of the world, Gennady Golovkin,
John Jones is a bad guy. That guy, if we were living 1,000 years ago, he would be on a horse with the biggest battle axe, waiting in the back, hacking heads off, and everybody would be running. And those people have always existed. These dominators have always existed.
Yeah, so just some more stuff that I want to talk about, and then obviously I am going to touch on. I think tomorrow I'm going to just do an episode where I recap some of the stuff I said I'm going to talk about from the beginning, and then just like update you some on that stuff, and then see what I can cross out, kind of make a checklist, and then see, okay, like this needs to be prioritized to speak on today, and this can wait a little bit, you know. I'm going to need to do that. And some of the stuff I want to speak about is obviously the ANC and the GNU performance, Cyril Ramaphosa's first 100 days, and then the Progressive GNU caucus, as well as the GNU anchor tenants. I think we need the ANC and the DA to continue being anchor tenants of the GNU. ANC and DA balance policy well onto other members of the GNU to find common ground. I think any other coalition that could emerge would upset the apple cart and cause this mass deletion of a lot of good in exchange for, once again, more broken wishes and empty promises. A good performance by the GNU is measured by employment and job creation. Creating jobs is a goal we can work with. How can we better incentivize large corporations sitting on lashes of cash to first move their capital, then direct their liquidity off their balance sheet onto employment generation? And then I just want to say this, like, some comrades in Gauteng seem to have an issue with a functioning GNU as well as a South Africa under good management. This is concerning, and these members seriously need to be investigated by a special body of GNU members themselves. And you know, like the same 1,001 agencies that they send to me must be sent to them, you know, for obviously their shady business dealings, the state capture inquiry, corruption, probably drugs, and a bunch more. I bring this up again, the failings, because it's the failings of liberal media, right? It was so widespread, the stories, or rather constant stories of constant racism at Pretoria Girls High. Know what the liberal media didn't post though. Just like how they won't inform you accurately on the 2024 US election, even though they didn't pay for their public airwaves license, even though it's their duty to inform you due to their public airwaves license. It's that Thabo Mbeki went down to Pretoria Girls and found that there were no crimes or incidents of racism. Can you believe that? They didn't just make the whole thing up. They wrote a story, spun it, and when the cat caught the yarn, what did they do? They did another Tom and Jerry. And you know, it's what I say again, it's just classical from their side. You know, so effort of radicalization in Gauteng is dumb. Revolution for what purpose? If the goal is better education, healthcare, living conditions, electricity, employment, and opportunity, that movement is a dismal joke like sit-down comedy. Any revolution worth its taste and its seasoning either is the reason for a boom or the cause of a boom. No in between. Floundering for the purposes of crippling a state so that the financiers of said movement can plunder is a pretty outdated business model that the public are now privy to. You know, fear porn doesn't work. I think we are seeing a cultural shift where clear lines that have been divided have been proven to be not as hard as previously thought, more like more likely and more like friendly lines in the sand. I think from a cultural perspective, fostering a culture of respect for one and all is paramount. This enables us to end racism by all being disciples of love. Racism and apartheid is something evil people constantly use to Racism and apartheid is something evil people use constantly to stigmatize the youth and traumatize the previous generations. I think, just like the media, the dinosaurs are extinct. People want to make money from real opportunities, they want role models that make money from real opportunities, and they want leaders who provide real opportunities. And I think we saw this in real time with the cultural shift in public sentiment towards Donald Trump after his winning of the 2024 US elections. South Africa is an incredibly unique position, and rightfully so, as the middle point between world markets, world trade, and world politics. We need to leverage this position as leaders of the AU on behalf of both our citizens as well as the whole of Africa. It is key for South Africa to employ archaic policy strategies and techniques in discussion with Eastern allies and or prospective partners, while honing in on Eastern philosophy in conversation with Western allies and or prospective partners. An enhanced, streamlined immigration and visa application process is a must. Lower tax rates and amended financial laws should be a phased rollout in a tier system format. The tax incentives and cuts should be aligned with our new regulation and deregulation era, which should coincide with our new perspective on trade within and around our borders, reflected in our tariff changes, rebates, as well as VAT and duty schedules, coordinated with our Customs Excise Office and the GNU. The first position in these rollouts should go to the highest bidder. Wheel and deal with global superpowers in exchange for greater trade and related concessions, which is why I advocate for a stance of non-alignment to any allegiance other than obviously the AU, UN, and Brics. Applicants should promise direct stimulus and support, political, military, and economic support, mentorship and advisory, as well as job creation and infrastructure projects that are completed is imperative. The goal is to really develop the South African democratic system, which is totally unique. I think it's time young South African leaders take a stand, showcasing our country and continent to the world under the steady hand and guidance of our nation's existing and capable leaders, advisors, and mentors.